Good evening, everybody. I'm Pav, the Rising VTuber and an artist, and today we are going to be working on the model that we started up a week ago. Technically, this is the second version of this model. If I can find the... I did save the second version, right? Oh, that might not be good. Let's head on over to the working screen and then I'll have time to panic about this properly, shall we? Alright. Alright, so, to start off with, I don't think I see the second version of this that I made. I remember making it, but I don't remember, like... I don't see it in my folder. Oh wait, maybe it's in the other folder that I have. Oh, there it is. Oh, thank fuck. Yeah, listen, I have two folders, right? One folder is for my art and the other one is for my, what do you call? One folder that I have is for my art and the other one is that I have for stream resources. But the thing is, because I save directly from the art program to the stream resources program, it occasionally, how do I put this? Like, occasionally what happens is that I can't find the browser, the source for CSV. There it is. Yeah, what happens sometimes is that I save it to one folder, but I think I saved it in another. So then when I go look for it, I'm like, oh wait, it's probably in the other folder. That happens much more than I would like to admit. I would like to state for the record, I'm usually pretty on top of this sort of thing. Just maybe not today, you know? Anyway, we did some pretty solid progress on this last time. I think, like, the main things to do is to make it so that they are, you know, that she's holding her hand, her arm out so that she has the head in here. And also to do the line art, obviously, and the shoes and everything that's going on with the head. I'm guessing that the line art and the head thing is going to take the most time. I mean, obviously making the head is going to take a while, but yeah, that's what I feel. What do I even have in this folder? Oh, okay, so that's just everything. I have everything in there. That's good. Oh, right, because I needed to do that to have the symmetry ruler apply to every layer. Okay, it's been a minute since I touched this file. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a minute. Okay, working on Live2D models is always super hard because whenever you always like get into the zone. Eventually, like you kind of start to do some kind of matrix stunts and be like, oh yeah, I know everything about this. But the problem is that if you exit out of that, it takes some not insignificant effort to get back into it, which is unfortunate. I really am wondering what the best way to approach this is. I think I'm going to do the helmet last. I think that would be a good idea. Or maybe not even do the helmet at all. I think I can just kind of have her be like this. I don't know. The thing is, right, originally I didn't picture this as like a person with a head. The Dullahan thing came together kind of at the last minute, if I remember correctly. Although I might have forgotten. This was a while ago now. I feel like I'm stalling for time almost. I gotta get moving on this. Sometimes it's hard to get motivated. Let's see. Okay, I think I know what I can do next. We have a little bit of purple stuff here. So I think we can do that right now. Just kind of do that along the length of the collar. Collar back. Okay, nice. Okay, so we would want this kind of on top of here. So let's call this trim. Zipper trim. Here we go. You know, today's been kind of a low-key day for me, I'm not gonna lie. Like, at work I'm currently, you know, having fun at work at least. That's nice. You know, oh, I see, it would be like all the way up here. Neat, okay. I think I was using like a specific pen too. I think it was this one. Yeah, it was this one. Opacity, stabilization, increase that. Decrease the brush size a bit. May increase it a little bit. Man, right now I really want to watch that Cyberpunk anime, the Cyberpunk Edge Runners, but I have not found like a good opportunity to really dig into it. Like I've got like assignments coming up this weekend. I've got some stuff going on that usually means I can't like take time to watch TV series. Like I would watch it while I work, but the thing is, like, if I do that, it's very hard for me to... I don't know if this applies to everybody, but for me personally, I find it really hard to like watch something that I want to watch, because when I watch those kinds of things, I feel like I have to pay attention. I feel like I'm very much obligated to pay attention because I want to absorb it. I want to be able to truly experience it and interact with it as a piece of media. Right, so that's reasonable. I don't feel like that's too much of a... I don't think that's freak ass behavior in the slightest. But that's not sarcasm, by the way. I feel like I've started being so... I've started like saying that stuff is normal when it obviously isn't, so much that I feel like now I have to clarify when I do mean that stuff isn't normal. You can be good at multitasking like moi. Ah, damn. Yeah, no, I wish I was better at multitasking. I truly do. I just am not. And like, it's also, again, due to the fact that I kind of want to like watch it properly. Like, I've been a huge fan of Studio Trigger's animation style and everything for like a long time. I like the way that they move stuff, and it's just a lot of fun. And the fact that they've done something in like a cyberpunk setting, I actually really love cyberpunk stuff. Not like the theme, unfortunately not the themes or anything. I don't like it, like... I like the cyberpunk aesthetic. I'm not super into the themes because they're kind of sad and depressing. But that's just a burden. That's just my own personal burden, and probably like not the best thing. I feel like you really... It's very difficult when you like... I don't know if you guys have ever seen this one cartoon. Also, hi, Leo. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen this cartoon ever, where it's like this picture of like a giant robot. Hang on, it's gonna be like... Gonna do it all the way over here. So like there's like a big robot, right? It's supposed to be from the Gundam series, but I'm just gonna make it like a random robot. There's like a big robot here, and they're kind of shooting a huge gun, and like there's like a little arc here, and this dude is like, there's like a dude pogging over here. This is the best meme recreation I've ever done. Anyway, the robot's like shooting overhead, and it's like, war is bad. And the dude is like, dang, cool giant robot. I hate to be that guy. I really do. But that is very much what I am towards the cyberpunk genre. I'm like, wow, cool neon. It's hateful, but it's who I am. Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, right, cyberpunk as a genre can't be divorced from its, like, kind of sad or kind of hopeless tone, because that is so integral to the entire genre. Like the entire point of cyberpunk is that technology has advanced to a tremendous point where it could benefit humanity, but it's being exploited by capitalism to the extent that nobody can withstand it. You know, that nobody has a good life. You know, it's that kind of vibe and feeling, and that's not a particularly good conduit for a happy story, and I understand that. But what if they were just happy? Is my question. Why can't my bestie who has like who calls like the guy that knows programming like a decker? Why can't that guy have like a good day once in a while with a little picnic? Is my question. And that's why I'm not cut out to consume media. Yeah, like I said, I hate to be that guy, but that's sometimes who I am. It's not that bad though. I feel like rather than me just being unable to kind of have critical thinking about media, it's more like I just love seeing patterns in things. So like I will love to like it's more than loving it. It's more like I'm good at it. Like I will look at a bunch of different things, and from the patterns I see arising from those things, I can make something new. You know, kind of like the combination of all those things, but with my unique take. I feel like that's such a valuable skill for myself, you know, as somebody who loves making characters and drawing unique stuff and everything. It's a very valuable skill, but it also means that, like, to somebody who knows more about the genre or whatever it is that I've used as a reference, it probably looks very messy. Like, that's why I try to do, like, research into each thing that I make fan art of, because, like, to some extent, I am worried that, you know, like I'll be trying. It's like when you're trying to speak a language, and you know the words, but you don't know what they mean. So you kind of put them together randomly. So what ends up happening is that, like, somebody who listens to you is like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Yeah. The best example of this is actually, funnily enough, from a video game. Fallout New Vegas is a great video game. One of my favorite video games ever, and in that game there is a guy who comes from a post-apocalyptic tribe where they have dreadlocks. But part of the post-apocalyptic tribe's gimmick was that each of these dreadlocks was braided in specific ways in order to tell the story of the wearers' lives, which is cool. I think that's a fantastic little bit of world building. But the problem is, like, this dude's tribe got wiped out, and he was the only one who was left, which sucks. But then he started rolling with these other dudes, and they started copying his hairstyle. And while he could, like, you know, he could understand why they were doing it, what ended up happening is that because they were just doing it randomly and without, like, any understanding of, like, the language that was kind of baked into that cultural piece, it just ended up being gibberish, and it just, like, stressed the guy who was from the tribe way the fuck out. Yeah, that guy was extremely normal. Nothing bad happened to him. I definitely didn't kick his ass at a nuclear silo. Just like in real life. That's true as well. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's going to be examples from real life, but I don't have any in my cultural experiences, I don't think. No, wait. There was at one time this white girlfriend of mine took to the phrase "fuego papi," and it was just like, I felt like putting my head through a cheese grater. It was violently bad. God, I hope she's doing okay. She wasn't a bad girl. She was just kind of weird. Also, you should probably just say locks. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I think. Yeah, twisted hair, locks. Okay, so this is gonna be called collar trim. I think this layer. Could I get away with just, like, doing stroke on these guys and then rasterizing it? Is that something that I could do? Those are two different things. Lol. That's true. Yeah. Again, see, that just happened. A fine example of that, of what I'm talking about. I don't know, like, the exact language behind it, like, you know, 4C hairstyles in general. So, you know, it becomes a little, it gets a little dicey, obviously. Yeah, I try not to talk about stuff that's way outside of my wheelhouse. And if I do, I have to put up a big old disclaimer saying, like, this guy is not trying to be rude, he just does not know. He's just not very familiar with it. You should ask Bunny. That'd be a good idea. Okay, there we go. There we go. Yeah, this is looking clean. I think my subtitles are broken. Oh no, there they go. Nice, okay. ever since that one time in Resident Evil 4, I feel like I have to like keep an eye on the closed captions. Otherwise, I'm gonna need to like smack them like you know how like in Happy. The weird thing is, right? So, like the trope of somebody smacking a jukebox or a piece of machinery or whatever to get it to work, right? That comes from this very old TV show called Happy Days. I know this because I was looking it up on TV tropes, and I was like, hey, this seems to be like a very important part of Western media. Maybe I should try to watch a couple episodes. And I did. And I don't know how to put it, like, it was weirdly repulsive to me. I'm trying to look for my... Oh, probably here would be good. Okay, I'm guessing I'll have to, like, put one here, so I'm gonna call this Blue Line. But yeah, I tried to watch Happy Days. That's the thing, right? For a long time, I was super interested in, like, older media. Not just in a kind of like, oh yeah, I'm so hipster, I only watch stuff that's like 50 years old or whatever kind of way, right? Part of it was that I love being like elitist about like what I'd watched for a time, but you know, I was also like genuinely interested. I was like one of those kids who always had to play the first game in the series before he picked up any of the sequels, or else he'd feel very uncomfortable. That's like one of my traits. I don't feel comfortable playing like what just happened? Oh, I see. Hang on. There we go. Oh shit, did my pen run out of power? That's not good. Yeah, remember to charge your pen, people. Now I gotta go like get up and look for a charger. That might be a problem, though. Do I have the charger handy? Oh my god, where did I put the charger? Whew, you have a battery pen? Yeah, I didn't used to have a battery pen, but, well, because it came with a tablet. My brother in Christ, it came with a tablet. This wasn't my decision. You know, I did not choose to lift shackled to a little battery inside of my pen. This was not a conscious decision. I wanted to get like a, you know, I'd heard good stuff about Huion tablets. Oh, I think I found it. Yes. No, why did you not fucking check that it was a battery pen? Well, okay, like listen. Okay, this is Pap speaking. Listen, I was trying to like avoid getting a battery tablet. Caveman. Okay, geez. Okay, this is getting a little personal. Listen, I like the thing is, right? I was like, my fucking Wacom that I'd had since I was like what 15, 13. You know, this was back in like 2020, 2019-ish. I think it must have been 2019. My Wacom tablet that I brought from that I had since I was like 15, 16. That was like on its last legs. The pen in particular was like the nub on the pen was worn down to like a small nothing of an iota. And I thought to myself, you know, I'm in the market for a new tablet. Let's see what people are saying about Huion these days. And it's not very good. And so I was like, okay, wait, not Huion, Wacom. I'm talking about like Wacom. Huion, I mean, no, Wacom is bad, but I like Huion. I have a Huion tablet. You know, like I said, the battery pen is kind of inconvenient. But the thing is, I have to charge it it's like a werewolf. I have to charge it like once a month, and then it's good for the rest of that month. I think I'm not thinking of werewolves, I think I'm thinking of periods, but like, you know, same rules apply technically. Wacom is bad, not like the olden days. I mean, yeah, Wacom was like the king in the market for like a good reason for a while there. But yeah, I had like a dude I followed in Tumblr, I think, who recommended a Huion tablet. because they were much cheap. Like they were, next time you get another tablet, go to XP Pen and check if that's battery free. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I like that. Like, it's very funny to me that a lot of artists will fight about like I wonder if how like car guys fight about like their car brands, artists fight about like their tablets. Like obviously you have to bash your bestie's tablet and you have to protect your own. I wonder if that's like a thing. I don't know if that's a thing though. You know, I don't know if there's like an industry standard. I imagine Wacom is supposed to be like the industry standard because like they're one of the more expensive side, but I don't know. I know that I chose Huion because it was big, functional, and economical, which was kind of like what I needed. It's not so much fighting; it's recommended good deals. It used to be fighting. Oh man, those were the days, huh? Yeah, no. I think that's true though, and I kind of like the fact that it's like shifted away from fighting though. Like it's nice. I don't like fighting. Yeah. You know, now it's not like, oh you bought a fucking Huion into my house? Get the fuck out of here. Now it's more like, oh, you bought a Huion? Man, you got fleeced. It's I wouldn't call it a good shift because that means that like things have got like quality has gotten worse. I got my XP Pen tablet for about $30 or less during Christmas time, and it's a big guy. Yeah, I don't know. I remember somebody recommended a Huion tablet, and I was like, yeah, okay, we ball. No problem, and it's good quality. Neat. I'll have to look into it if I'm ever in the market again. I say that as if though, like, my tablet isn't inevitably going to break. The thing is that I like to think that I treat my gadgets very gently. I take good care of my stuff, believe it or not. Things get messy, sure, but like I take good care of my stuff, and so what I kind of have to choose very carefully when I buy something new, because I know that I'm just gonna be stuck with it for years and years. People used to recommend Huion because they were cheaper, but everyone who gets them just breaks down after a few months. I must have slid in just before that happened then, because mine has been quite the little trooper throughout the years. Yeah. XP Pen has great customer service. Nice. I like that you've single-handedly turned this into an XP Pen evangelization stream. I appreciate it. It's always good to get great deals. XP Pen sponsor me and I will use your tablet. God, I if I do ever get big, I'm going to absolutely hate it if I do become a big streamer, but one of the... They can fuck off, I don't care. Yeah, listen, I will say though that like, if I become a big streamer, which is way of a long shot, and also something that I don't want to happen, but if it does happen, one of the best things that's going to happen, one of the only things that I will appreciate about it, is the fact that I'm going to get free stuff out the ass. Yeah, I'm gonna get one of those little tour boxes, and I'm gonna like use it as like a fidget toy for when I'm bored. It's more of an if I hear another person get Wacom or Huion, I'm going to fight kind of reaction. I see. Alright, I gave it like 20. I gave it like a minute or 5. It should be back. Yeah, here we go. Now we're back in business. I have to remember to charge it properly. Why did it open Excel? You can't see it because I don't have a source for Excel. I should have a source for Excel. I love spreadsheets. Anyway, I was thinking about something. I don't remember what. Anyway, yeah, I think my pen has gotten so resentful of the fact that I haven't charged it properly in months that it opened up Excel on its own. He's like, oh yeah, you wanted to use me to escape your day-to-day life from using Excel all day? Well, guess what? Here's some more Excel for you, sucker. I've been thinking about like trying to, you know, for this one, I've been thinking about trying to use one of those like non-Live2D rigging softwares that I keep hearing about. I see them a lot on Twitter. I'm wondering if it's worth it trying to invest the time to learn them, though. I mean, obviously, it'll be better than, like, you know, it's going to be fairly cost-effective, if nothing else. But I don't know if it's worth it to invest the time for that. I mean, it might be. Oh yeah, also, this would cut out right around here, I think. God, I am really thirsty. Before stream, right? Before stream, I was hungry, so I ordered some food. And there's this new place that opened up nearby that sells these what are basically beef corn dogs. That the batter, instead of being like pancake batter, is like this like bread like rice batter, from what I understand. It's interesting. It's very interesting. But they are very, very, I imagine they're highly sodium heavy and, you know, very fatty. So you just end up thirsty as hell after eating one. Okay, I'm gonna need to, like, I think I'm gonna need to increase the amount of white fabric on here. There we go. Yeah, I feel like this would be more closer to the original concept art. Yeah. Oh yeah, speaking of food, I learned today that apparently where I live there's a term called storm chips, which is apparently the term that they have for like people stockpiling food because of in preparation for like a storm hitting. And I was like swept away by the fact that that's a phrase. I kind of like stormy weather, you know? Like, it's nice when you have stormy weather and you can... I feel like because of the, you know, not necessarily by choice, but because of the kind of increase in the capabilities of teleworking, you know, nowadays you can't like call out of, at least for my job, right? You can't call out of work because like there's like a storm or something, right? Like they still expect you to work because they have had the technology to work from home for like months and months now. So it's kind of like not a choice anymore to really like take a day off because of like bad weather. But like I remember sometimes when I was a kid where there was like a blackout or like, you know, there was like all these natural weather events and we would just like get together and play some board games. I feel like that's not possible anymore because of like the way that things have developed necessarily. Okay, I'm gonna need to drag down the reference image so I can see what I'm doing with these shoes. I think I'm going to think of the shoes as almost like a test run, because if I can figure out how to make the shoes in one layer, I can figure out how to make the rest of the clothing in separate layers. I think that's a good way of looking at it. Okay, upper leg R, lower leg R. Here we go. I can just make a big old thing of red here, like right where their foot would be, and then go from there. You know, it's not just about like, it's not just about aesthetics sometimes, it's about efficiency. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of efficiency, but sometimes it is about the aesthetic. There's a time and place for everything, really. Yeah. I like to think that a lot of my, a lot of the joy that I get from art is putting effort into the little details that people will never notice. Or like if they do note, like I want to put in details that people will notice, but like they'll feel very clever for noticing them, or like they all think it's cool to notice them. I don't know how to put it. I want the art that I make to make people happy. I think part of that is also like adding small things that, you know, if they were looking at it, they would notice and they would get a kick out of it. I like that idea. I like the idea of like giving people a nice surprise in their art. Yeah, constantly, and the more I think about it, the reason that I do these things, you know, the reason that I live stream, the reason that I do art in general is because I like seeing people smile. You know, even if that people is sometimes just myself, I like seeing people smile because of something that I made. Oh yeah, speaking of things that have made people smile and made me smile. The other day, right, that Hololive girl, Crony, she had a stream where she was talking with one of the new guys, that Vesper dude who looks like a vampire but isn't a vampire apparently. She basically had a stream with him where they were like role-playing one of those like Charlie Brown psychologist booths where like they were like trying to talk out her problems. And it is the funniest shit I've ever seen. She was tormenting this man. Like, I feel like the best visual representation of that entire stream is just like Vesper in a Yamcha style crater, and Crony just kind of doing that Sojak pose at him. Like, yo, check this out. God, I really like that stream. I really recommend it if you get a chance to watch it. God, Crony is one of the funniest people that I've like watched the content of. Oh God. Like at multiple times, Vesper actually just had to like scream out because he was just like having enough. That poor bastard. Oh yeah. So fun fact. Apparently they finally managed to get an estimate of the number of ants on Earth. I'm not making this shit up, by the way. I need to disclaim this, that I'm not making this shit up. Apparently they finally, like, I don't know what was preventing them before. I imagine like they had like very little knowledge of like the total number on Earth. But apparently scientists have finally been able to figure out, you know, to get a ballpark estimate of the number of ants on Earth. Apparently it's something like 20 quadrillion. But yeah, now we know how many ants there are on Earth. You know, guesstimate. We don't have an exact number for what I hope are obvious reasons. But, you know, we know that there are like approximately 20 quadrillion ants on Earth. And I feel like that's just very cool. Like, fuck yeah, you go, little guys. Yeah. I've never thought about, like... I don't know how to put it, like... Who thinks... I often get this thrown back at me because I say some profoundly weird things. So I often get asked, like, where do you come up with this stuff? Or how do you who thinks about this? Right? I often get that thrown at me. You know, maybe they just don't get my sense of humor sometimes. But that's fine. You know, I understand that I say some objectively weird stuff sometimes. But one of the things that, like... This 20 quadrillion ants thing was one of those things that elicited that reaction from me. Like, who was wondering about this? Why do you need to know how many ants there are on Earth? Or, like, estimate? Like, is something gonna happen if we hit 40 quadrillion? Is that the concern here? Like, why do you need to know so much about ants, big guy? Like, it's suspicious is all I'm saying. Like, why do you need to know about ants? They haven't bothered anyone. When I was a kid, I wanted to get an ant farm. You know, one of those, like, I don't know. Are ant farms unethical? I don't imagine they're particularly... I mean, I guess they're, like, sufficiently comfy that an ant can... You know, that an ant colony can reasonably thrive in there, but I don't imagine that they're, like, particularly... You know, it's not... It certainly can't be the best environment for the ants. No, I don't think that... I feel like they would be stressed in there. Right? Like, ants... I don't think... Do ants like it in an ant farm? I don't know. I imagine that if they were sufficiently stressed, they would just, like, try to break out or just die in there. But, like, from what I understand, like, ant farms... You know, I don't know much about ant farms. Do they, like, are they, like, in perpetuity? Is an ant farm, like, a lifelong commitment? Or, I mean, like, lifelong until you decide to release them back into the wild? God, that is really funny, though. Like, top 10 ways to dispose of your ant farm. Number 1, find the nearest senator's house. For the purposes of my own personal safety, I am joking when I say this. At any federal agents who might be watching, I am joking about this. I think that's the second time I've had to use that disclaimer this week. I feel like maybe that's a sign that I need to get into, like, less dicey stuff. You know, maybe I'm flirting too much with it. I don't know how to put it. Like, it feels like maybe I'm stepping away. I'm losing the plot a little bit on, like, my sense of humor. Yeah, because, like, it's not funny if the jokes you say kind of, like, worry people. You know, I know that most people understand that I'm just 100% joking when I say this stuff about the federal agents, but it's still, like, I feel like eventually it's going to make somebody uncomfortable. Sometimes that person might even be me. Like, I feel like maybe I'm not comfortable making those kinds of jokes, so I think I'm just not gonna. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Because, like, a lot of people act like comedy is about, like, finding jokes that people are uncomfortable. I'm saying this not in my specific terms. Like, I don't believe this personally. But, you know, on Twitter in particular, or I feel like on the internet, there's so many, like, comedians that are like, oh yeah, like, comedy would be so much easier if people didn't get offended. But, like, dude, what about jokes that you're uncomfortable with? Like, the way some comedians talk, you feel as though, like, everybody's just, like, chomping at the bit to, like, say something completely out of line. And that's not... I feel like that's, like, a weird way to view the world. Because, like, how fucking desolate must your life be to imagine that, like, to feel like everybody would be a complete asshole if they didn't have society holding them back? Like, how fucking lonely must that be? Yeah, like, some people will be like, oh no, you can't be funny anymore. You can't be offensive. You can't say offensive stuff. You'll get canceled. Oh, dude, I've been saying funny shit for almost a year now, if you can believe it. And I don't think I've said anything particularly offensive. That's not a challenge, by the way. I don't want anybody to, like, challenge themselves to be offended at the stuff that I say. Yeah, I feel like I haven't been particularly offensive. I'm an inoffensive, peace-loving bag of rice. I mean, yes, I do want to get into fights all the time, but, like, those are just, like, joke fights where there's very low stakes. I want all the fights that I get into to be, like, kind of like a playground kind of affair almost, where we kind of go like, oh, but I have an invincible bullet blocking shield and you can't hit that with your magic bullets, and they're like, oh, but they're extra magic bullets, and you're like, ah, fuck, they're extra magic bullets. I guess this shield's useless. Unless, and then you just kind of go from there. I have a buddy of mine, Raphael Knight Errant, on Twitch, I believe. He's much more active on Twitter, but Raph often talks a lot about, like, these tabletop games, and that I've never heard of personally, but they sound very cool. And I think one of the ones that he told me about was this one where they were, what do you call? It is basically like that. It's essentially like an entire play session worth of improv where you're going like yes and. That sounds like a lot of fun. I feel like I would enjoy that game. Yeah, one of the underrated pleasures of life is just piling bullshit on top of bullshit. Because very often, once you get past a certain point, stakes start to become very, very real. Like, unless you're like me and have a bit where you regularly bullshit people, I feel like eventually, past some time, like, the kayfabe is just going to get to you and you're just not going to be able to take it anymore. Yeah. Yeah, I say not true made-up things for the cloud and for jokes, but it's in such a way that I just want to make people smile. I don't say it for like personal gain. I don't think. That is one of my favorite bits to do, you know, like when I go like, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but, and then I just completely say something that's completely untrue. I love doing that bit. It gives me life. Oh yeah, speaking of stuff that's like complete nonsense, this one is a real story, by the way. Apparently some dude did buy Stonehenge in 1915. I learned that today. Apparently Stonehenge was bought in 1915. The guy bought it as a gift to his wife, and she was like, no, I don't like it. And then he just gave it away to the public. Could you fucking imagine? Can you imagine that? I don't know who to be more mad at in this story. Like, one... Okay, so first of all, I'm mad at the dude who bought Stonehenge because he bought Stonehenge. That's completely messed up. I'm mad at the wife because apparently she didn't like Stonehenge. Like, okay, cool. Give me the rock formation you got as a gift then. If you don't want it, I'll take it from you. Like, obviously, I like to think that maybe she was like trying to convince her husband to kind of not buy a priceless cultural artifact from a civilization long gone, you know, and instead turn it over to the public. You know, I think that maybe that was a kind of a scheme she was on. I hoped so, at least. I like to think that that's what happened. Like the wife was like, oh my god, he just bought me Stonehenge. Oh my god, that's so romantic. Oh my god, that is fucked up though. I like to think that that's what happened. Like, she was just like, okay, now I have the choice between having a really cool rock formation forever or having a conscience. Even if she didn't, I like to think that, because the alternative, which is just like that she didn't like it and she just basically made him return the receipts to Stonehenge, is kind of terrifying to me. Yeah, I wish we had like things like UNESCO World Heritage Sites and such much earlier. You know, not necessarily because, like, you know, I'm sure that, like, you know, the colonization had never happened. Sacred sites of cultural importance wouldn't have been ransacked nearly as much. But I do wish that, even, you know, assuming colonization still happened, I do wish that stuff like UNESCO had been made earlier, because you hear about these things, you know, you look at history and you hear about the awful things that some people have done to artifacts and places and just potential scientific discoveries that they can never take back, and it sucks. Like, I know about these two dudes who were like the fathers of modern archaeology, right? I forgot their names. I think one of them was called like Moss or something. But these two dudes were basically the fathers of modern archaeology. And what ended up happening is that they got so into heated competition with each other that they would blow up dig sites once they were done with them, so that the other guy couldn't get at whatever they hadn't found. Do you understand how many dinosaur bones could have been in those? The sheer amount of knowledge and information that was lost because two men decided to be extremely petty toward one another and just so happened to be the leading authorities on archaeology at the time. When I think about that, I get really mad. What gave these assholes the right? Yeah, it's particularly funny because they weren't even particularly, a lot of what they found, quote unquote found, was largely disproven over time, but they were still absolutely monumental towards the development of archaeology. So that is the worst thing, though, is whenever somebody who has contributed something meaningful to society is also a piece of shit. Because then, no matter how bad they were, you always get some smartass going oh, but they did so much for society. Yeah, but they were still complete assholes, is the thing. Being useful doesn't preclude you from being a jerk. In fact, I would say it's almost necessary for you to be useful in order for you to be a full-time jerk, because nobody wants to keep you around if you're useless and a jerk, right? You at least have to be useful if you're going to be a huge asshole. That I found is the trick to writing characters who are unlikable, but you want to keep them in, is to make them useful, Make them be able to do something that other people in the story cannot. I found that that's a very good way of keeping them tolerable, is that they are at least useful. So at least then you kind of as a reader, you have a rationalization for why they're kept around, why they're so necessary. They need to have some depth beside everybody. They're an asshole and everybody keeps them around, right? They need to have some justification for being able to act like this, and not just in terms of their backstory. They also need to have it in terms of my pen battery ran out again. Oop. I guess we're taking another little break. But yeah, I think, like I said, I think that's the key to writing quote-unquote likable asshole characters is to make them, not just kind of relatable in very oblique ways, but also to make sure that they have some kind of use in the story. So, unless they're the protagonist, in which case they're kind of all automatically useful to the story, they need to have some kind of purpose. Oh yeah. Today I read an article about those brain training games, right? I don't know if you guys have heard of this one. Luminosity is a website. Yeah, apparently there are these brain games that can help you prevent Alzheimer's and all these other brain degenerations, or at least stave them off a little bit, which is always nice. It's cool. It's cool to kind of give your mind that kind of brisk workout once in a while. That's why I still read from time to time. I try to read scientific articles. I try to read Wikipedia articles, because sometimes I need to go full brain power and try to really understand something, because it's good for me. But yeah, I remember hearing about Luminosity when I was real young. Yeah, all my teachers were I think it was for a math thing or something, where they were yeah, we have this game called we have this game website called Luminosity, and I was can I just go on Cool Math Games instead? I never really managed to get into Luminosity. I haven't really managed to get into any kind of brain game in general, because the moment it starts to be about being smart, it stops being about having fun. It's why I can't play those games like Big Brain Academy, because one, you know, even though you can say that like the game raises your IQ, that's not. I don't feel like that's making me smarter. I feel like that's just making me a little bit better at thinking. And while that's nice, I prefer technical knowledge to like being able to assemble it very quickly. But also because like once the game is about like, you know, being smart, about having a high score in smarts, I feel like that's almost like insidious, almost like you're worried about like getting a good grade in smart, something that is both possible to achieve and normal to want. So that's why I never managed to get super into those. Yeah. Not to mention, sometimes they're just like boring. They're not particularly fun. I know Tetris is actually supposed to be one of those games that's supposed to be like good for your brain. I know that apparently like Tetris can help people with like, I remember reading in one article that like it can help like reduce or assist people with like hand-eye coordination issues or like dyslexia and such. I think that like that's what Tetris can do. I think another one that they recommended was like was like almost like Osu type of games. Like Elite Beat Agents. I want to play Elite Beat Agents someday on stream, but like, one, I don't have a capture card for my DS, and two, the game is so full of copyrighted songs that I'm going to get a DMCA strike before I even hit start streaming. Yeah, so those are the two main barriers in the way. I could just play it with, like, by separating the sound of the stream and everything, but like, I feel like in the VOD that would get a little weird. Yeah. Okay, that should be enough charging time. Yeah. Oh yeah, apparently Ferrari recently made its first 4-door car, which I think is really funny. Oop, wrong one. Did I hit the right button? I feel like I didn't. But yeah, apparently the Ferrari 4-door car looks really funny because it looks like a SUV that was just painted like Ferrari red. It looks so, like, it looks very awkward, is the thing. Like, you know, Ferrari, I think is, like, characterized by, like, its shape, like, the shape of it. At least that's what I normally associate with it, you know, more than the little horse logo or anything. I feel like you can, like, it just kind of, like, feels and looks very sports car-ish. There we go. Okay. And we also had a line like around here. Okay. But yeah, I think that's the main reason why I thought the 4-door Ferrari looks so weird, is because it looks like, it just looks like an SUV painted cherry red. But like, I don't know what I was expecting, because it's supposed to be a 4-door car, and you know, you can't have like that kind of sports car shape with like 4-door cars. I don't think. Not without some major bodywork magic happening, I don't think. I remember that one of the favorite shows that I managed to watch on Netflix while I still had a subscription was what was it called? Like Rust Valley Renovators or something, like Rust Valley, something like Rust Valley something or other. I think it was Rust Valley Renovations. or Rust Valley remodeling or something like that. And it was a show where they followed this one specific like car garage shop that customized cars for customers. It looked like a lot of the designs ended up looking very kind of... they looked rad as hell, I'm not gonna lie, but a lot of the fun of it was them just like trying to figure out how to put together this final vision of the car. Okay. And then what I'm actually thinking is we change the design a little, just a touch, and add a kind of red thing here for the for like the kind of like cuff of the shoe. Is that what that part of the shoe is called? I don't know. It might be called something else, but I like to call it the cuff of the shoe because that makes the most sense to me. You know, it's kind of like how for the wrist there is a cuff, but like, you know, this is technically near the wrist area of your leg. If that makes sense. I don't think that it does. I think I'm really out of line on that one. I feel like I almost need to like add more white back here. There we go. There we go. Maybe a different color though, because this way it looks like this red line is just kind of like going across. That doesn't feel very good. Maybe I can like add something right here to make it obvious. Yeah. Okay. Man, I cannot wait for like the stream and a half I'm gonna have to do of line art for this thing. I think after this I might have to finish it on my own time because I do honestly want to move on. You know, it's nice to have consistency because I know what it's gonna be like, but the thing is, right, if I do more than 4 streams on something, I start to kind of like lose my patience a little bit. More like, I start to feel like it's a little too monotonous for my taste. So I like to, you know, I don't like to have, unless it's like a special challenge or something like March or Drawtober or something. I'm not doing Drawtober properly this year. I'm gonna do it with like breaks and everything. I can do whatever the hell I want. This is my house. Anyway, but yeah, I do find that like making sure that I don't oversaturate myself with one specific thing has worked the best for me in terms of like stream quality of life. Okay, I think that's pretty good for the shoes. I should drink some water. Man, my body's really not getting adjusted to the fact that the days are ending later again. Like, it's dark now and now I'm getting sleepy. I'm like, oh god. I hate how the change in seasons basically turns me into a bird, because I just get sleepy whenever it gets dark out. It's so annoying. In particular because one time I saw like I've talked about it again, and I've talked about this before, and I think somebody actually called me like said that I was like a bird because of that, but I remember that I saw this post going around of this character who pretty much said the same thing word for word. I was like, I can't help it, I get sleepy if it's dark. And the person posting it was like, are you stupid? Are you stupid like a bird? It's white rice Thursday, and fun fact, I'm gonna have Chinese food right now. Nice. Hey, Bulk Tanker Truck, welcome to stream. I like the use of that emote. Like, I like how it's supposed to be like me angry, but like the fact is that it's also like me pumping my fist, so it looks like we're just hyped for it as well. Nice. But yeah, it's white rice Thursday. What's good? What's good? How's your week going? Getting Chinese food though. Nice. Yeah, fried rice. Chalafan or chafan is really good. Yeah, it doesn't need to be particularly fancy, but it does need to have like a lot of savory components, I think. It's that's my key to a good one. May I need to make the shoes slightly higher. Okay, yeah. And then I can start doing the line art for these. Okay, so for the line art, I am wondering if I should just keep going with this like pen here, or if I should try to like use my normal G pen. Because I like my G pen, but I do wonder if that kind of consistency is more valuable. There we go. Yo, it's good to see you. I also have been doing good and fine today. So far, had a lot of fun and had some dubs over Apex Legend, and now I'm just waiting on my delivery to eat some Chinese food and enjoy a cold bottle of water and cold coffee. Nice. Yeah, congratulations on winning Apex. I understand that that's not always that's not like an easy thing to do. I've never played Apex Legends. I'm not planning to play Apex Legends because I feel like it. I'm worried about who I'm going to become if I start. Yeah. Like I said, I enjoy the variety in my streams. So if I get hooked on a certain game, it's just over for that concept. Yeah. Also, somebody might say something mean to me over voice chat, and I might cry on stream. Yeah, there's a pro gamer technique for you. Threaten to cry if you don't win, and if you lose, start bawling very loudly over mic. It's not going to secure you the win, but it'll also make the other players feel bad, so that's also technically kind of a win. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I add the vector layer. I make the vector line. And then we kind of go like this. I forgot, if I march this down, it's going to keep the name of the bottom layer or the top layer? Probably the top layer, right? Oh no, it's the bottom layer, nice. Oh, maybe it just defaults to the layer that's already named. That would be very useful. Kind of like know in general. There we go. Yeah, I think I need to like make this like this almost. No, that doesn't feel right. It needs to be more of a sharper thing. Also, I feel like, hang on. There we go. I should probably shade it before I do anything else. So hang on. Okay, here we go. It's alright, it's your choice to play whatever you want, and I want the safe and sound to be around a positive circle. That's nice, thank you. Alright, let's see here. Yeah. You know, I say that though. I did play TF2 for like a long time as a teenager. I feel like if I can handle TF2, I can probably handle Apex Legends. Unless TF2 is somehow the most civilized game out there. I don't feel like it is. By any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, I don't know how, like... You know, I haven't played that many, like, team shooters or online shooter games, right? So I don't know, like, what the culture is for each one. I imagine it's somewhat different. You know, even... It might be interchangeable, but I imagine it's somewhat different between each one. You know, to some extent. Let's see. Okay, what angle is Light gonna be coming in at? I am excited for Scorn, Street Fighter 6, Dead Island 2, and the upcoming Tekken 8 and the new Garo Mark of the Wolves in development. And I really want to play King of Fighters 15. Oh man, you got a lot on your list. I just hope I make it to the weekend. Yeah, it's good to be excited for a lot of new games, so I feel like that's the key to, like... You know, I feel like I've been scorned so many times by games already that, like... The thing is, right, I've developed this system where I'm not even aware of which games are in development anymore. So if a game is good or a game is bad, I'm just not aware of it. You know, I just, like... I either see it, like, flourish because people will be posting good memes and memes about how good it is, or I will see it, like, in a YouTube thumbnail 6 months later with big old text saying, "What went wrong?" with, like, 1 million, like, shocked face emojis. Yeah. I no longer have, like, excitement for new games because inevitably it'll either, like... Actually, I can get excited for new games. I'm excited for, I'm sure if I think for a little while, I can think of a game that I'm excited for. I can't think of any at the top of my head right now, which is probably not great for the point I'm trying to make. But I can still get excited about games from time to time. But yeah, it's like... I don't know how to put it. Like, before you could, like, kind of... even though there was a hype machine, like, long before my time, right? Like, since Daikatana, there has been such a thing as a hype machine. Probably earlier as well. Like, that's just the best, earliest example that I can think of off of the top of my head for things that were, like, way overhyped. But, you know, thinking about it, there has to have been, like, a long line of people who lied about how good a video game is to sell more copies. And that's not really like anything in particular. Like, that's just, like, marketing, I think. That's just kind of how marketing works. You know, because you don't want to, like, say your game is shit because nobody will play it. You want to lie about how good your game is. You know, sometimes it can be honest. Sometimes you can be honest about what your game does well, but you can't always... You know, I imagine there has to be, like, at least a couple things that your game doesn't exactly deliver on, and those are the ones you have to lie like a dog about. Yeah, like, if a game offers, like, massive replayability these days, I'm not going to believe that it's, like, going to be radically different if I play in a different style. I'm just going to believe that, like, it's just a really huge map and they filled it with, like, random bits and bobs so much that you just don't bother to finish exploring it. So you just, like, randomly find stuff on your new playthrough. That's not true. I think, like, sometimes when it comes to, like, your... Like... I don't have, like, much replayability for most games because even though, like, I understand the concept of trying stuff from, like, a different perspective, usually what I start out with is what I want to go for. I think the only real exception to this has been, like, the original Fallout games, because I remember, like, trying, like, out, like, a gunfighter build, like a fist fight build. Like, I cleared the game on a fist fight build. I did that on stream. That is still on my VODs page. And, you know, I feel like those have, like, a much more meaningful kind of difference in the way you replay them because there's lots of different builds. Like, in Fallout 4, actually, is a good example. You can you can, you know, quote unquote have replayability value by trying out the different factions, quests, and everything. I imagine. I haven't actually finished Fallout 4 ever. Let me take a sip of water here. I never finished Fallout 4. But it always feels like no matter what build I go for, it ends up kind of being all... I end up using guns a lot, like a lot. Like, yeah, I can take the Iron Fist perk and find the special power fist that drops from Swan the Super Mutant. And it's great, I love it. But, you know, eventually... You know, the game is so built around gunfighting that it just doesn't feel good unless you play using guns at least a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, I am interested in Tekken 8. Tekken fanboys have always been the funniest. I feel like Tekken memes, you know, Guilty Gear has some pretty good memes, but like, I feel like the Tekken fandom, or the Tekken fanbase just has the best memes, because... Tekken is a lot like the Yakuza franchise in that it has a lot of very serious stuff being juxtaposed with like really absurd stuff to the benefit of the franchise. So like, for example, there is like, Heihachi did throw like his son into a fucking active volcano or some shit on like he did throw his son off a ledge. But there's also like a bear you can play as that's literally just straight up a bear that entered the tournament. And nobody stopped it for some reason. Like, they just let it because, I mean, fuck, are you gonna tell a bear that it can't participate in a fighting tournament? I mean, if you want to, go right ahead, but like, I'm not doing it. You know, who's gonna take responsibility for the bear showing up? Like, nobody wants to take responsibility for the bear. That's why the bear is still here. The bear isn't going to go away until somebody tells it to go away, but, like, nobody wants to be the guy who tells the bear to go away, because the bear is a fucking bear. Also, King is there, and I love King. King is one of my favorites, because... I don't understand... I don't know how to explain why King is one of my favorites. Because I feel like the fact that he's a professional wrestler who has a jaguar for a head is... I feel like that should be sufficient explanation for why I love him. Like, his very existence should be an explanation as to why I love him so much. Like, I don't understand what there's not to understand about King. Like, that's just, like... What do you want? Like, what else do you want? I'm not sure. I'm not understanding like what you're not understanding, vis-a-vis like King not being the best. Power away. Yeah, like people will ask me like, "What do you like about King?" And I will straight up not like. It's not so much that I don't have an answer, so much as I don't understand the question. Like, there are people who don't like King? Yeah. But yeah, Mark of the Wolves. I remember reading about that. I know V posts a lot about Mark of the Wolves. Okay, here we go. Let's see. I think Sharmi's from that one as well, and I like Sharmi. She's nice. But yeah, it's still incredible to me that they brought in that one dude from The Walking Dead into a Tekken game. At this point, anybody could be in the new Tekken game. Friggin' Giles Corey, victim of the witch trials, who was pressed to death, is in the new Tekken game. He's a DLC character. Anything could happen. Nobody's off the table. Okay. Yeah, I feel like this is definitely much easier than you know, I feel like I have slightly less control this way, but it is definitely much easier than going line art first and then shading. I feel like I have much less trouble keeping track of all this. Like, the worst of the work is already done. Like, I have figured out, like, where the shadows and everything are, and, like, where the colors are, and I don't have to worry about how they'll interact with anything. It's nice. I like that. You know, there's little hiccups here and there, naturally, but for the most part, it's quite peaceful. I was on the wrong layer. Never mind. There is no such thing as peace. Peace was never an option. Fuck all life. Yeah. I still haven't fully recovered from my experience playing Disco Elysium because I still kind of want a jacket that says "fuck the world" on it. That's how you know, like, Disco Elysium has got you good, is that you want one of the weird-ass clothing items that you find in the game. Yeah, I have two on my hit list. I want the leather jacket that says "fuck the world," and I want the little froggy hat that I didn't manage to get on my playthrough, but I know exists, because everybody draws the detective wearing it. And I would like to have it also. Oh yeah, I never brought this up. I did actually add a couple new redeems. You guys know that I like making props and everything for myself. It's a lot of fun for me. So I actually made the option that if you want, you know, for 5,000 points, for the same cost as putting me in a horse stance for 5 minutes, you can suggest a prop that I could make that I will have, like, on the docket for stream. You could also suggest that I put on a prop for much less than that. But I feel like the suggest a prop thing is pretty fun. I hope people will try to use that. Okay, here we go. Okay. There we go. Is it weird that this looks even cleaner than my usual line art? That feels weird. That feels unnatural that this looks cleaner than my usual line art. This color blocking stuff is powerful. Yeah, I know for a fact that we're not going to be able to finish this one tonight. I know, like I said, I feel like this is going to be like one of those things where I have to like hash out in my own time. But I'm kind of happy with like what I've learned with this. I feel like I need to start making smaller models more frequently. I need to start making simpler, more smaller models more frequently, because once I start doing that, it's all going to kind of come together. It's all about failing faster, you see. Failing faster and failing smarter. That's what learning is all about. Because, you know, there is that one saying, right? Like, the undefeated swordsman is exceptionally poor. Or, you know, exceptionally alive. I don't think swordsman... You know, I think swordsmanship is a bad example for that particular turn of phrase. But it still makes sense, right? Like, you know, if you've never been challenged by anything you do, that means that you've never done anything particularly meaningful. And while I don't find that that's necessarily true. Everybody has different experiences. What might be challenging for one person might be super easy for another, but that doesn't make it any less meaningful. Or, I mean, I guess... No. It doesn't make it less meaningful, it just makes the other one more meaningful, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't detract from the meaning of the person doing it, but it... You know, the meaning can be enhanced by whoever's doing it. Like, a dude who has been gifted at sports all his life, becoming a champion boxer, is less, like... it's not going to be nearly as impressive as a dude who was never athletic and became a boxer like in just a year, right? I feel like that's an unfair dichotomy because like even people who have things kind of come natural to them, I feel like even they work hard, you know? Nobody gets good at stuff without working their butt off. You can have some natural advantages and you can have some, you know, some kind of like instinct for it naturally, but the fact of the matter is you're not going to get anywhere unless you put effort into something. You know? Like, you know, you can say that you've worked harder than anybody else, but everybody else has also worked hard. You know, there's nobody who doesn't like try at least a little bit in their lifetimes. Now everybody's made some kind of effort at some point, or else they would have just stopped breathing because it was too bothersome. Yeah, so that's why even if it comes easily to them, it's important to congratulate people on a job well done. That's my personal philosophy. Like, no matter if it's like what they were expected to do, no matter if like that's what, you know, if it's like that's the easiest thing they've done all day, I still find it important to like give people a pat on the back for their work. You know, I like to do it because I just, you know, that's how I would like to be treated as well. And I figured like kind of creating that culture is important. Yeah. You know, somebody posted a really good comic the other day about AI art, right? It was about this dude who like loved, you know, it was a fictional comic, obviously, but it was about this dude who loved the art made by an AI. It was really funny. Like, the dude was like, man, this one AI made really good art, but I can't. But like the AI is gone now. I can't get any new art out of it. What if I try to like make art like the AI? So the dude basically rediscovered like drawing. Essentially, like the dude discovered drawing. And, you know, he went around and he really toiled with, like, you know, trying to learn how to draw still life, how to draw all these different things. He really worked his ass off. And he was like, okay, so it doesn't have the same kind of weird perfection that the machinery has. It's very obviously unpolished. It's very obviously inferior. But I had fun making it. And I wonder if the machine had fun making theirs too. I think that's a wonderful point, you know, like when you hire somebody to draw something for you, you're not just like getting art out of it. You're also sharing that experience with them. And I think that can be something that's extremely wonderful. I mean, obviously everybody's going to have a different approach. Maybe I just haven't taken enough commissions for the whole process to eat away at my soul yet. But it is a little bit like you're kind of sharing something special with somebody else. You know, it's nice, it's interesting. But yeah, because like the other person also, like if the other person also had fun drawing what you commissioned them, well, that's pretty wonderful, ain't it? Whoop. There I go. Okay, and then there we go. I can feel like the circulation in my right calf is getting really bad. Hang on, I'm gonna like stand up for a second. I like how my chair is so squeaky that like you can hear me getting up. Oh god, that's really funny. Okay, there we go. Oh, yeah. You know, at work, I have one of those, like, convertible desks. One of those that can, like, that has, like, a little motor in it, so you can switch from standing desk to sitting desk and vice versa. And I have never... Like, it is revolutionary to me. Alright, like, that, like... I was like, oh man, I don't really like standing desks though. Like, they're so annoying. But like, the option of being able to switch back to a sitting desk whenever I want is phenomenal. I cannot overstate how in love I am with these things. Like, it is so good. I really want to get one for my own home office, but like... you know, I don't know why I hesitate to pull the trigger on nice stuff for myself. I feel like unless I'm actively going for like an impulse purchase, like when I was when I went on a little trip the other week, I actually got myself a new pair of shoes because my old pair of shoes were kind of like they were like these Aldos that I got from a thrift shop, which just happened to be my size and happened to be in decent condition. Like, they were like these leather sneakers, basically. And they were fantastic. They were very good. And they were starting to crush my pinky when I walked, which wasn't optimal because I was walking a lot at the time. And what ended up happening is that I basically went to a mall there. I went to a Foot Locker in the mall, bought myself a new pair of shoes, and I immediately chucked the old ones in the bin. I didn't feel bad about it at all, because like they were like really old. They were so old that they were literally starting to fall apart. On second thought, they might have not been that great of a shoe. But you know, they served me faithfully for a few years, and I like them, so that's good enough for me. I mean, what else could you possibly ask of for a shoe? Besides not crushing your pinky when you walk. Yeah, I was worried that I was going to develop a blister or something, but I think it really was just literally crushing it. Like, I didn't develop a blister, so it wasn't friction. So I think it was just, like, crushing my foot as I walked. God. But yeah, unless it's like an impulse purchase like that, or like, you know, I guess that was less so an impulse purchase, more of a, like, almost like a necessity for walking. Unless it's something like that, I end up having a very hard time buying these sorts of, like, responsible adult things for myself. It's weird. It's definitely weird. I think it's mainly because, like, if it's an impulse purchase, I know I'm going to feel guilty spending the money anyway, so I might as well get myself something nice. Does that make sense? Am I being neurotic? I don't know if I'm being neurotic. I might be being neurotic. Yeah, the other day, actually, I'm not going to tell that story. Anyway, yeah, let's just say I've recently had some insights as to why I'm built the way I am, but it's no big deal. It's fine. It's literally fine. God. Anyway, I was thinking about something. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, no, it's gone. That train is long gone. Motherfucker has left the station. I wonder if people who are hard of hearing or, like, rely on captions to listen to, you know, understand content, actually kind of develop a sixth sense for, like, when a caption is wrong. I imagine it's very obvious from context clues, but, like, I wonder if, like, they've managed to develop it to an extent that they can kind of tell what the original thing was by just, like, sounding it out, almost. Well, no, I don't think they'd be able to do that. I'm gonna go back. Oh, shoot, was I on the wrong layer? Oh, I wasn't! Nice! That's always a pleasant surprise. I love it when I'm not on the wrong layer. Okay, let me try something here. No, that's a wrong brush. Maybe the watercolor brush? Yeah, okay. Oops, right, okay. Other watercolor brush. There we go. All right. That's a shoes at least done. You know, we've kind of come full Ouroboros circle on this sucker. I think I'm gonna call it a night, honestly. I'm a little tired tonight. Yeah, I'll try to finish this model in my own time and eventually kind of get a version of it out. I could always make like very small models and try to rig those. You know, I could make like a chibi pabs. That'd be fun. But yeah, let me go back to the just chatting screen. Yeah, I'm on. Okay, I need to. I hope this. I hope the closed captions learn the word chibi soon, because that's it showed a word that's not what I said. Well, that's a great note to end things on, by the way. I will see you all on Saturday when I will be playing Viscera Cleanup Detail. I hear it's a very interesting game. I've seen some gameplay footage of it. It seems right up my alley. So yeah, enjoy your Friday. If you're one of the people on the eastern coast getting affected by Hurricane Fiona, make sure to stay inside, and I will see you all on Saturday. Bye.